We got a bonus episode of Toys and Tech of the Trade this week as I bring in Brandon Fassberg, who is going to share his story about starting an avocado-based hot sauce in the midst of a pandemic. On last week's episode, we discussed taking that risk, starting a business, working on that passion project, and Brandon embodies that fully. We're going to share his story and learn about the toys and tech of his trade. Brandon, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going? Super fun.
I'm really glad that we got to connect. Number one, because you're a fellow New Yorker. Number two, you really are a prime example of that New York mindset of just going out there and showing grit and determination to get a project off the ground, especially in the midst of what's going on. So I want to start with the origin story, kind of start from the beginning. Why avocados and why hot sauce?
Yeah, it's probably the best place to start, right?
Absolutely.
I started out disliking avocados very, very much. In fact, when I was, I think, 6 or 7, my mother and sister and I were driving in a car and we were going through our groceries in the supermarket, and they took out this weird thing called sushi. I don't know if you've heard of it. And I noticed, they're like, here, do you want to try a little bit? And I noticed there was something green inside, and it kind of grossed me out. So I became famous, or as famous as you can get at 7 years old, for poking out the avocado with a chopstick before eating my sushi, because I was afraid of it. I didn't know what it was. But a year later, I couldn't get enough of it. It became a staple within my household. And I have to give credit to the avocado for kind of kickstarting my healthy way of life, I would say.
Okay.
But we're helping to kickstart. I want to give credit to all the other fruits and vegetables out there. Started as something I didn't understand. But after trying it, I realized that I just missed more opportunities to eat something that I now am obsessed with, and so obsessed, in fact, I had to start a company based around it. So thought the Avocado Club would be the perfect platform to promote the avocado and everything it represents. And for hot sauce, I wouldn't say I was a huge fan of hot sauce. I wouldn't go actively looking for new bottles. A lot of the community members we've connected with, we've learned that, they've been collecting for 50, 60 years, new and interesting flavors and bottle designs. And basically my background is based on, and this might be like an overused phrase, but storytelling. I've been a part of a lot of different types of companies using different structures, the very, very lean startup, the agency in New York City, the corporate publishing company, a handful of other startup projects. I worked in big tech, for a short while, and all of these experiences kind of brought themselves together. And, okay, what did you learn? And what don't you like? And let's just combine it, make something awesome. We're a product of our mistakes after all. But not to get off track, hot sauce. I have always wanted my own product. I wanted to be able to hold something in my hand and confidently and proudly say, I made this. It looks great. It has value, hoping people are going to enjoy it and find value as well. And I'm going to introduce it to the world. Right. That broad kind of general goal was something I've wanted for a very, very long time. But dude, I had no idea what it was going to be. I was totally lost, and I just kept tasting different things, trying different industries, and, being a part of so many amazing teams. And then, during a trip to San Francisco, I was visiting, that side of the family, a couple friends, and I was in the Mission, which, if you've been in the area, I classify that part of San Francisco for tacos. It's incredible food. And me and my friend Brian were just walking down the Mission, looking for some food, and we were eating tacos, and they're some of the best I've ever had in my life. And I was just like, wait a minute, this is missing something. It's missing like that punchy, like burst of like cold and refreshing flavor that just kind of enhances like this incredible experience. I was like, it'd be really good to like have a hot sauce. And somehow that place, which I won't name, did not have a quality hot sauce or something I could basically say, oh, I wish I could make this at home, or I wish I could have this with me
Right.
at all times. So I thought, I want to make a hot sauce, and I want to use my current platforms or my current reach and community to infuse it that way. So I was looking at the Avocado Club, and I was looking at hot sauce, and I learned that hot sauce is, in my opinion, probably the most fun, or the best rather, opportunity for a business or product designer or somebody who wants to create to bring something to market in a fun, really community inspired way. So you can look at a standard hot sauce bottle. You probably have one pictured in your head, or there's probably one on your fridge or on your table right now.
Yep.
And you
A
look
few.
at the bottle. Yeah. I mean, they've become staples at this point. But like, you look at the bottle, you look at what it's made of, you look at the size, and then you look at the label, look at the colors, you look at that size, you look at how it's branded, you look at the cap, you hold it in your hand, of course, you taste what's inside. There are so many different components of a hot sauce bottle that you can customize based on who you are as a person, your experiences, and you can basically use it to enhance any existing brand.
Yep.
Like, if you named a company off the top of your head, you and I could probably create a hot sauce that represented that company.
Now, in the midst of you going through this process to build towards the creation of this, one of the things that fascinated me as I did the research for our conversation is the fact that you got this ball rolling going back to 2017, and it wasn't until 2019 that you really doubled down on going down this path of creating this product. Now, the thing about it is, were you using your community to kind of beta test or create a particular product? And how important was it to build that community first to get the ball rolling?
Yeah, absolutely. And community is the heart of this project and also the Avocado Club as a whole. Yeah, I mean, the company was formally established in 2017 as just that, a community. We launched unofficially on Instagram, and we wanted to grow and focus our community growth there. And we acted as, and still do, as a curation account that just illustrates the most creative ways that people are using avocado today, whether in recipes or artwork, medicine, opportunities are endless.
Yep.
And the hot sauce, the first attempt at a hot sauce came during a tasting event that I hosted at a spot in Long Island City, Queens, where I was living at the time, to promote a food-based product, so not a hot sauce. I don't want to give all the details away now because it's still something we might build out in the future.
Okay.
But it is something you and I just talked about moments ago.
Right.
And we put together a hot sauce, right? I put together hot sauce in my home kitchen that used avocado oil because I wanted to test it along with these secret menu items, but it wasn't the star. The menu item was a star. The hot sauce was a compliment. And we had note cards, and, I invited my friends and my family. New York can be such a warm and like giving place if you're surrounded by good people here, and everyone's always looking to help each other out, especially in the restaurant scene. And I just invited my friends and family, some people who we partnered with in the area, and I collected their feedback after the event. Looked at it super carefully. There were some people who said, and I was just looking at the hot sauce review this time. Some people said, doesn't come out of the bottle. It's way too hot. It's not hot enough, which I thought was interesting. The texture is unpleasant. The color is unpleasant, and the bottle was too small. And I looked at that and I said to myself, is it really worth doing this thing? Should I even bother? So I stopped and I focused, temporarily. I focused on just building the channels, increasing our network, our brand partnerships, and just creating a platform, just Instagram for now, or for during that time, to bring people together, let them share their creations, allow other complementary brands in the avocado or health wellness space to share their story and for us to help share their story. And I think, honestly, it's going to sound a little silly, but this is just the social media marketer in me. When we reached 10,000 followers on Instagram, I thought, like, now that we have this healthy, engaged network, maybe we should offer something of our own, because we've been sharing other products, other services that have to do with the avocado, and they're all amazing. But what if we could, and when I say we, I'm just saying, what if I could, because it was just me at the time, create something that had our logo, our stamp on it, and that was good enough to make people happy, or even one stranger happy. That would be pretty awesome. So I looked back at the hot sauce and I thought, you know what, let me do a little research. And let's see, I think we're about now to date 750 plus samples of the latest market ready recipe of Hottee Aguacatee have gone out to people, which just was from an effort of using all of my mom's kitchen appliances, annoying the crap out of her to make sure I had everything I need because I couldn't really afford it, making gallons of this stuff, sourcing bottles, sourcing labels, learning how to make it. And now, I mean, it's ready to launch on Kickstarter next week. And I could say that right now I'm glad and happy that I was able to put an idea out there into the world, to have a large group of people dislike it, but also say, I don't like it, but here's what you can do to improve it. And you probably agree, and I'm sure a lot of your guests will probably agree, that there's nothing more valuable in this life than someone being honest yet constructive with you. It's a superpower. And if you use it appropriately and responsibly, it can do amazing things for you. So that, combined with a lot of patience, a lot of burnt fingers. Just a quick note: if you're going to cut chili peppers, always use gloves, no matter what. It happened to me a couple times. But hot sauce seemed like it was the perfect way to showcase our creativity, because it's made up of a community of ingredients, just like the Avocado Club is a community in itself. And we just wanted to stay on that theme. And now that we're crowdfunding it, it just seems natural to get other people or customers involved, as club members, which is what we call our followers. So, yeah, that's just, there's a lot happening, but, really, really excited.
I want to unpack a couple of items there. First, I want to go back to, your initial trial run with the hot sauce for the food dish that was the star of the show. Hearing that feedback, especially for something that was essentially not even the main component or the main item being featured, did it dishearten you in a way? Because you look at it and you're like, this is just a sauce. Like, trying to, I want to oversimplify it just a bit for a lot of people, because when you buy a dish, whatever the dish is, yes, there's the main component of the dish, and then there's the ancillary components, whether it's, garnishes, sauces, whatever the case may be. And usually, to your point, you bring all of that together into your dish. Essentially becomes the community, because here's different facets all coming together to form this one complete item. And when you heard that much feedback, especially from something, like I said, that was just a side note of the dish and not the star of the dish itself, what went through your mind at that time? Did you take a moment and say, this is just a part of the dish, it's not detracting from the main dish, which is the star here? Or were you bummed because you said to yourself, hey, this all came together and everyone's focused on one aspect of it and detracting and taking away from the star of the show?
Yeah, so you nailed it. That first thought, and it's just the entrepreneur in me, this endless journey to just kind of get it right. When I got that feedback, I thought, man, like, I worked really hard on it. I thought it would be really good. I know nobody really tasted it except for me. But man, that's kind of a bummer. And I wish it was better. But then I started, there were like 75 or so, note cards that I created, and I was looking at them, and it started to become more clear to me that these people, they wanted me to, because I knew them, because I knew who I invited, who I wanted to be there. They wrote down this generous feedback because they really, really wanted me to succeed. And like you said, it was ancillary in that they didn't arrive to try the hot sauce.
Right.
They arrived to try this menu item, and then, hey, we put a little something extra together to boost the experience and to show that, we're creating some other stuff and here's a little taste. I recognize that there might actually be something here. If I could take this feedback, combine it with my research, talk to, professionals who have done it before, I can really have something here. But shortly after that event, I was like, all right, let's put it on hold and let's see, maybe in the future we'll do something like that with the hot sauce. But, again, I can't say enough how important it is and how grateful I am, to receive that feedback, to keep receiving that feedback every day from, new friends who've been, testing it and trying it and giving honest feedback, from everything from what's inside, the flavor, the heat, to like what the bottle looks like and the logo. You need to be able, I just personally feel, as an entrepreneur, as somebody who wants to realize a dream or introduce something to market, pride it cannot get in the way of you hitting that launch button, because these will be your customers. These will be your advocates, the people who, they're going to write the reviews. They're going to bring it to a dinner party. They're going to, sing your praises. So it was very, very much the customer is always right. But if the feedback doesn't directly apply to enhancing the experience, we'll accept it and listen to everyone. I'm super proud of just our CX experience on our social channels. Everybody gets a reply. But yeah, just this product, I swear, this product, I would not have been able to push launch in 3 or 4 days on the Kickstarter if I didn't listen and apply this feedback. And the best of the best was when I applied the feedback, sent out the revisions, the new samples, and the reviews. I mean, they were surprising in the best possible way. I'll just say that much. And I'm just super grateful for every single piece of feedback.
Now, the one thing, for people that don't know the background of creating a product like this, there was a lot to be done, from food handling protocols, finding a space to like a test kitchen, being able to sell this product to market. The thing that gets me is you were doing all of this, and were you working a regular full-time job in the midst of trying to get this dream started?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is the short answer, Rich. I worked multiple jobs, not all at the same time, but I was in a lot of different roles during this whole creation period. But I always make a point to work smart, not hard. And that's really the only reason why we're ready to launch when we are.
Right.
Using the right software, using my know-how, my network's know-how to, create documents, and honestly just using the basic power of internet access, to make everything happen. There were sleepless nights. There was a lot of anxiety, nervousness. I mean, to be honest, I'm still feeling traces of that now. Hoping it's mostly excitement, cause we're so close. But, before when I decided, let's do a hot sauce, let's make something awesome. I didn't know how to make hot sauce, like at all. I could probably throw a bunch of random ingredients in the blender and churn it out, but probably would not taste very good. Well, go ahead.
No, well, that was actually my next question in terms of just background in the food industry. You came in, based on how you've been describing this journey, you came in, no pun intended, raw. Like, you had no commercial food experience. Am I correct?
Well, yes, you're correct in that I haven't directly had experience in the commercial food manufacturing biz. But I came from two entrepreneur chef parents.
Nice.
From Queens. Yeah, which could be a very powerful thing if used correctly. They actually met in a kosher deli where I was born, and food marketing and food storytelling, everything food, has been a big part of my life since the beginning, and definitely have to thank both of my parents for putting me in a position of appreciation for the culture of food and culture of food around the world. And I worked with my parents in both of their businesses in the back, whether it was making bagels, working the POS system, posting it on social media. And I loved it for the most part because it was the food, and there's nothing better than good food made by good people. But in regards to like working in a commercial kitchen and using this massive equipment, giant boxes of peppers that I'm expecting to be taking very good care of relatively soon, I had zero idea. So I tapped the social media part of my brain, and I jumped on Facebook and I just typed in hot sauce, which is probably one of the most powerful searches I've ever made in my life. And I filtered by groups. So I typed in hot sauce, and then with the results, I just clicked groups, and I saw a good 4 to 5 different hot sauce themed groups that had 5-figure followings with about 50 to 60 posts per day. Yeah, right? It's crazy. And I thought, what if I could just join these groups as a curious person and ask these people, like, how do I make hot sauce? Like, where do I start? What equipment do I need? So that's exactly what I did. And this effort was free. Facebook groups access is free.
Yep.
If you're a good person, I'm sure you've jumped in to find guests for your podcast. I believe that's actually isn't that how you and I connected?
That's correct. We connected through Pottit's Facebook group because I actually used the Pottit service, and we had interviewed the founder in an early episode. And the thing about it is something that you've driven home is being connected and leveraging that connectivity, because there's for as much of the negativity that's underground in the internet, whether it's YouTube, Reddit, etc., there's a lot of good people and a lot of good initiatives that are out there. You just have to find them.
Yeah, exactly. I honestly, I couldn't have said it better. There's a real undervalued value within Facebook groups right now, if the intentions are good, if the community is supportive. So I went into each of these groups and I said, hey, I'm new to the hot sauce world, would love to learn the basics. And then comments started pouring in. And I'm talking about like hundreds of people who were so happy with their own success, they wanted to share, and their desire. I mean, it was so warm to see that so many people wanted to help somebody new. So I honestly took their advice. They sent me links, the type of equipment, the type of blender, how to properly sterilize the bottles before they're even filled. It's incredibly important. Shelf life, pH levels, the science behind it, which fascinates me, I think, the most, of what you need to prepare each bottle for before it hits shelves. So I took the knowledge from all these amazing people, all these amazing group members, used YouTube for techniques, and I had a basic recipe and a basic technique. And once I had that, I thought, we gotta put an Avocado Club spin on it. Do we just chunk up a bunch of avocado and throw it in there? So like, it sounds okay, but it doesn't sound that good. And to be fair, I have tried sauces that use that form of avocado, and they're amazing. Like, I can shout one out right now, like SoCal sauce. Also, they did not pay for me to say this. I'm just a fan. They use actual avocado meat, and it's one of the best hot sauces I've ever had in my life. But I wanted to do something different. I wanted to make us unique. So, I added avocado oil into it, different quantities. And, like we've been talking about this whole time, tested it again, sent it to friends and family, sent it to, actually, this is an entirely different aspect, but I went back to the group members, right? And I just went out and said, thank you guys. Now I know how to make hot sauce. I'm really, really appreciative. So I posted in these groups free hot sauce. First line, it said free hot sauce.
Wow.
Now, most people are going to look at that, right? That's probably the reaction for a lot of those readers. Whoa, okay. Yeah, free hot sauce. But I had to follow up more. I had to say, look, so thank you guys so much for teaching me. I'm also not reading directly from the post, but it's basically something like this. So thank you guys so much for teaching me how to make sauce I would be absolutely honored to send you bottles for honest feedback so that we can launch this product with the best possible recipe. All you need to do is send me a DM on Messenger, on Facebook Messenger, and I'll coordinate and I'll try to get a sample to everyone, to as many people as possible. And then I had to see something underneath that said, this is totally serious. You can look at my personal channels here to verify that I am a real person. Yeah, I mean, that was it. Within 60 seconds. I'm not exaggerating. I jumped in Messenger. The app crashed on me.
Wow.
It might have been a coincidence. Yeah. I must have got, by the end of the day, about 150, I want to say, requests. Some people who said, yeah, send me a free bottle. And that was it. Like, okay. Other people were like, wow, super happy for you. Really excited that you're launching. Would love to try it, give you some honest feedback, maybe even leave a review on my YouTube show.
All right.
So two very different types of responses. So I packaged up samples. I got some craft green shredded paper for filler. I made custom notes. I locked down a sticker partner to pump out some stickers in exchange for features on social media. And I put these awesome packages together and I put the hot sauce in little glass 4-ounce bottles at the time. And I sent them out and the reviews started rolling in. And compared to the feedback at that first beta phase, it was completely different. And that was a really fulfilling moment for me because I was able to stay patient, use that feedback, use the new techniques that I've learned. And now, I mean, I didn't just have great feedback from testers. I had potential customers.
Yep.
And I just thought, like, this is like more people need to know about this, right? like if I was able to find and effectively target these customers who buy hot sauce, who enjoy hot sauce, and have them like it, and all it costs was like a 4-ounce bottle of the stuff just to see if they actually would enjoy it. I mean, I'll do this a million times over. So that is when I really started realizing that the true power of Facebook, in my opinion, right now, is in groups. And
I can agree with that.
yeah, I know you definitely agree. But yeah, I've been overwhelmed in the most positive, amazing way. And now the community has grown, and it's full of people who are ready for the launch, who are ready to buy it. And even now, I want to constantly improve and make it better. And I think that's just going to be the case for forever. So yeah.
Well, your dream has become all consuming, and that's when you know that you're on the right track. Establishing all the behind the scenes stuff, like getting a company started, and in this case, like starting an LLC. How did that feel when you filed it came back and it was tangible now? It was a real thing. Like, describe that feeling when you got that back and you're like, wow, I'm a real business. Like, this is it. Because again, there's different facets to quote unquote a real business, like creating the website. That's one way because you're putting it into the ether. But when you go through the legal process of legitimately putting yourself out there, it's a different feeling. How was that for you? Like that first, like when you got those papers in and you went through the process and you knew like, this is it. Like, it's official now.
Yeah. So I was feeling a lot of different things. But my first thought was, what is this silly name of a company doing on such an official document?
That's a good way to look at it.
I was like, the Avocado Club, LLC in New York State. I couldn't really take it seriously.
Right.
But, I mean, I was just so happy that I was able to take such a mature step in, legitimizing this community that was just made for fun. That now, we took a responsible step towards, it was just me at the time. I'm just so used to saying we because I want to speak on behalf of the Avocado Club, our community, our club members, our partners. But I was so happy that, that was taken care of. And now we were going to do everything, of course, by the book, the right way, the legal way, the responsible way. It felt great. And I just felt a little bit more weight, maybe, to really bring this thing home. And now that it was official, like you said, I mean, out in the world, we had to start making stuff. We had to start breaking some eggs, and making something awesome. But as anybody who's ever done that before or placed that order, it makes you nervous. It makes you excited, it makes you proud, and occasionally lonely because it's not an easy thing. And a lot of people, won't always connect to the entrepreneurial way of life. But
true.
For me, I do remember getting a smallest bottle of the cheapest champagne that I could find. In a liquor store nearby, and I just had myself a cocktail and just smiled. I said, "All right, this is real. Let's get to work."
Now, of course, with everything, there's always some hurdles. What was one of the toughest challenges that you've endured to date in getting this project off the ground? Because again, people want to eat the sausage, but don't want to know how the sausage is made.
Yeah, yes, I do. Ah, man, I'm looking at every single factor of like putting this particular project together, or this one division of the Avocado Club. And mostly I'm looking at it like it was a pleasant experience. Everything was super smooth. So like when I really look back, I think, you know what? Like finding the bottle, like designing the labels, identifying the kitchen space, understanding which certifications and documents need to be approved, the FDA, the shelf life, the pH levels. Like I said before, the science of the product occasionally took the fun out of building it. But I think that's just a part of any business that is coming together. There are going to be some boring parts, but if you get through it, you can have more fun. I would say just like, those scientific details that I'm so grateful to now know a lot about, just locking those down and understanding, what was really needed to get this thing to market and to make it a regular item, to get people to experience it, to build that funnel. I'm fortunate enough to have learned quite a bit of marketing techniques throughout my career. There's always room for more. There always will be. But I felt like I was able to use the basics of social media marketing, community, influencer marketing, brand partnerships to get this thing ready. But yeah, there were some moments where like I would have said, like, is this still worth it? Because there's so many little things that need to get done to make a hot sauce. And I'm glad I decided that it was. Yes, it's still worth it. And I think it was when I put this final bottle together and I looked at it and I tasted it and I had that big dumb smile on my face. And yeah, it's totally worth it. I'd do it all over again. And there will be other challenges, I'm sure, but I just need to do everything in my power as a founder, as a business owner to equip the brand for anything that comes our way. And, and I think that's the reason I'm feeling extra confident of just about pushing the launch button, not necessarily knowing what's going to happen after, but to know that we're equipped and ready to handle whatever might come our way. So,
Just a reminder to our audience that the launch is going to be September 1st. And, when we're recording this, we're right around the tail end of August to jump right into the launch, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. I wanted to ensure that you got that traction, that extra social boost out there. Now, with regards to forming the Kickstarter, did you feel that Kickstarter was the right vehicle for this versus trying to get traditional funding from getting bank loans, et cetera? Did you feel that was just the right approach, or was it something that you said, if I go this route and for whatever reason things don't line up, it doesn't, nothing is being hurt in the process. It's just back to the drawing board and starting again?
Yeah. So the short answer is Kickstarter, crowdfunding, absolutely the way to go. The long answer is, just looking at the Avocado Club and how it was made, why it has the growth that it has now is based on the power of that community. And now the product, like we said before, it's a community of ingredients. So we're on theme, right? So I thought, okay, if I network my ass off on LinkedIn, wherever else, and I schedule pitch meetings and I put together a deck and a business plan and I talk about, projections and our future plans, we might get some VC funding. We might get some cash to to make this thing happen. We could launch and that would be it.
Right.
But, right? It sounds, when I say it, it's like, yeah, anyone could. My next thought rather was that's not how that's not the story I prefer to tell years from now when I'm talking about like, when we're listening to this episode, 10 years from now in space, probably. I want to be able to say like, we chose a platform that promotes community, collaboration, and just fun. And I thought, this is a fun product. It's really well made. It's professionally made. It has been tested. It is safe. It is a quality product, but it's just fun. And I wanted to use the power of crowdfunding, something I've always been a fan of just as a contributor to other campaigns. I wanted to tell our story about how it was made, why it was made, what our plans are, what it's going to look like. And the most important part, how anybody who contributes can earn some seriously incredible rewards and perks to help bring this project to life. And, I was thinking like, do we do Kickstarter or Indiegogo? And I did my research and it turned out that Kickstarter was preferred because it has this urgency factor to it. And I'm sure a lot of your listeners have seen it or heard of it or been part of a campaign at some point. If the goal is not met, so we're trying to raise, for example, 4,500 in 30 days, starting September 1st. If we do not hit that figure in 30 days, project fails and absolutely no money gets taken out of any.
Yep.
And even when you contribute when we're live, nothing gets touched until or unless it's successful.
That's right.
Which is amazing, right? So you're basically saying, hey, I believe in this. I believe that this campaign will be successful, but if it's not, I keep my money, which is pretty cool. Also, when we were deciding between Kickstarter and Indiegogo, noticed that like Indiegogo, a great, incredible platform that has made a lot of dreams come true, allows you to keep all of the money you raise, even if you don't hit your goal. I don't know if that's changed the last time I looked at it, but I think that's kind of their thing. But Kickstarter had the reach and then had the backer potential. And personally, I'm way more interested in the quality of and the amount of backers than the amount we raise. And I always will be. Because if we can get more people to be excited and into this project and bring them into our story, that's going to be worth any amount of money. So Kickstarter just had the tools, the creation tools to allow me to use my amateur design skills and put something into action that, effectively tells our story. And honestly, some of the rewards that are now finalized, and everyone can check them out on our preview page, some of the rewards are simple and some of them are absolutely nuts crazy, but they are very, very real. If you take a look at it, you'll see exactly what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that one at the bottom, that is 110% real and accurate. And that's also a big reason why I wanted to do Kickstarter as opposed to VC funding, because people can earn these fun rewards. I mean, we could have you on our podcast. By the way, we're going to need to listen to this a few more times to get some tips because you're crushing it, Richard. Like,
thanks.
You have a quality podcast, and I was really excited about being on. But yeah, I mean, you could win your name on the bottle. We have only 8 spots on our bottle where you can be immortalized on the Kickstarter label that's going to go out with rewards. And there's a bunch of other ones. I don't need to go down the list. But if there's any you guys see, you can let us know on Instagram. But it's just fun. And when I look at it, just as a fan of Kickstarter or someone who just buys products, it looks more like an experience than a checkout. And I think that's really important. And I think that this product, again, just wouldn't happen without our community. So I want to give that same opportunity to our community that's growing every day to help make this thing a reality and, reward them with, some heavily discounted hot sauce that they may have already tried. But a lot of other really fun extras that I think, I think our backers are going to be really thrilled to see and be happy with. So, yeah. And the page itself, it took maybe 8 to 9 months just to get right. I just made final edits yesterday, and I might even edit it a little bit more before launch. I just want to make sure it's perfect for everyone.
Yeah, I like the leveraging of more modern design techniques in terms of just getting your message out there, infographics, things that resonate with a particular audience. And it goes right into my next question. We've always been taught when we're starting a business to find your ideal customer, your muse, who's the person that's going to be the driving force for your product or service. In this case, who do you see as your ideal customer, the person that they'll see this, they'll jump right in? I mean, is that something that you researched, or you kind of in the midst of building this community decided like, hey, these are the people I kind of want to go after?
Yeah. So, I think that's just a really natural thought to have when you're making something, like anything. Like, who's going to care?
Yep. Because you can't please everybody.
That's a universal truth. I wish I knew much earlier in my life. There needs to be intention always. Who are we making this for? Who's gonna hold it in their hand? Who's gonna experience it and like it enough to actually return for more, which would be so sweet. The name of the Kickstarter is Hottee Aguacatee Avocado Hot Sauce for Everyone. So that might as well say, in my eyes, avocado hot sauce for everyone.
Right.
And the ingredients, I mean, if we break them down, they're vegan. They are 100% natural, non-GMO, gluten-free. Everything in there is so clean and fresh and is made with ingredients for markets here in Astoria, Queens. And there's nothing about it that is suspicious, in my opinion. There's no artificial nonsense. It is just a really clean, green hot sauce with an avocado.
Gotcha.
Now, yeah. And we've had, we've looked at our insights, our demographics, our followers, people who love our content. But in my opinion, I think anybody who likes hot sauce, who enjoys avocados, who enjoys packaging and branding design, anybody who wants to be healthier, who wants to be a little more adventurous with their food, anybody who looks at this and says, you know what, this might make a good gift for someone who would appreciate this. The flavor itself, the heat itself, it's not like practical joke heat where you have a spoon and you need to get in a bathtub full of milk.
Right.
It has this kick where you taste the heat of the jalapeno and you're like, all right, this is definitely hot sauce, but it doesn't linger so much to where like you're calling 911. It's got a lot of ingredients that traditionally complement classic food. Ginger and garlic, white vinegar, sea salt, shallots. I don't have a bottle in front of me, but I think I got most of them. I mean,
right. Tomatillos.
Oh, of course. I mean, tomatillos. I can't believe I forgot because that's like a classic salsa, hot sauce ingredient.
Absolutely.
Way before I even would have thought. So, we had to have tomatillos in the hot sauce just to pay homage to the classic heritage of the product. But to answer your question, Rich, it's for everyone. It's for anyone who can afford to buy it, who can eat the ingredients and consume them. Personally, I think hot sauce or chili heads, as I've come to know them now, I would hope that they would grab a bottle or two to just kind of show off. I mean, the bottle itself is designed as like a piece of art, in my opinion. So if you look at our logo, our little avocado guy or gal, doesn't have a gender, is wearing a crown.
Yep.
So I swear about 3 or 4 days ago, we decided to make the cap yellow because it would look like each bottle has its own crown, just like our logo. And this is a very, very recent idea. So my thought process again is that people will look at this and say, oh, it looks really cool. If it tastes good, that's just a bonus. I mean, that's what our focus is. But we see a lot of people who want to eat healthy, focus on their wellness, especially now. I think it would also help to mention that hot sauce traditionally boosts our immune systems and actually keeps us healthy.
Right.
Which is a super thing to know. So, I mean, especially now, and not just now, but just always, just focusing on being healthier and putting things into our body that makes us stronger, happier, and healthier. This will definitely help with that. And anyone who just wants to, just add a little zing to what they're eating. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's a hot sauce. We think it's great. I think you're going to like it. But yeah, I'm excited to see who it resonates with the most. We've been reaching out and partnering with so many different types of customers and companies and audiences that we really don't know which way it's headed, but it's definitely ready.
Awesome. Now, but before we jump into the next segment, I did want to ask, I mean, you're doing the Kickstarter, of course. Priority number one is making sure you secure funding, get fully funded. You're anticipating having the product to your Kickstarter backers within, a few months after launch. Now, the next goal in my next question is the end game with this product is, and I'd like to presume this is where you're going. You want to go onto your local store shelves, right?
Definitely.
Have you been researching what goes into that in the midst of it? Obviously, not putting cart before the horse. You want to kind of definitely get to the funding stage, but have you kind of said, all right, if I want to do it, here's where I want this product to be able to be purchased. These are my ideal supermarkets or stores I want to work with.
Absolutely. And this was a much earlier thought than it probably should have been. It's because I thought, it's going to be great and there'll be customers and I could order from our website. That'd be awesome. But we want to get this into big market,
right?
And that now, I guess, we want to target high growth or high volume e-commerce platforms who, have subscription boxes or stuff like that. But, as part of the sample and feedback period, I just identified local markets here in Queens. And I mean like Queens, not like all of New York.
Right.
I had just focused on my hometown, as the nucleus. And I discovered, there was, say, this one hot sauce shop that is just famously known in New York for having all different types of sauces. And they're like a tasting room, a curation room. And the first thing I did was I called them up. Actually, no, I DM'd them on Instagram from the channel. And I said, hey, we are making an avocado hot sauce. We'd love to swing by with the sample and see what you think. No reply for about a week. So I called them and that seemed to do it. So we scheduled, have to be persistent. Scheduled the time to swing by. I got these really cheap craft boxes off of Amazon, some chalk markers, some shredded green paper. I printed out some business cards and I designed like my life depended on it.
Oh man.
Just little, and I'm not a designer. I will never call myself a designer in my life. So I just took a stab at it and I designed the crap out of this box, with custom crowns and keys and hearts, just like our logo, and avocados and flames. And I put this beautiful box. I thought it was beautiful. I put this box together and I swung by. I met with their manager. We sat outside and I knew in that moment, no matter how this was going to go, I was going to learn so much. I was going to learn everything I needed to bring this to everyone else, regardless of how this goes. Turns out they liked it and they said, let us know when you're ready and we'll test it in our store for a certain period of time and see how it does. At that point, we're still, even today, we're not legally allowed to sell it because it's not being made in a commercial kitchen.
Right.
So we couldn't actually charge for it. Like I actually had to say to somebody who was ready to buy the product, no,
wow.
Which was tough. But then I thought, okay, so this is what we need to do. And I wrote down all the questions that she asked in regards to the product. How much does it cost to make? What's the wholesale price? What should it retail for? Where do you get your bottles? Where do you get your labels? Is it all natural? And I just took that and I ran home. This place is in Brooklyn, and I decided to walk/run home in excitement and broke out the whiteboard and I said, all right, this is what we need to do. So to answer your question, there is now a nice handful of markets and businesses who have sampled the hot sauce, who will be receiving it in the mail shortly.
Awesome.
Yeah, who I'm confident that they're going to like it and be ready, for us to wholesale. But before any of that, the number one priority is going to be fulfilling the Kickstarter backers rewards.
Absolutely.
Making sure that, yeah, I mean, it's more important than the biggest wholesale deal in the company's history, that the people who made the product possible are going to be rewarded first, and not until that last one is fulfilled is when we will start moving on to that next phase. But really excited.
Awesome. I'm glad we got to break down a lot of the story, where we're going, the challenges you faced. I want to get into our next segment, which is the hot seat. It's a series of rapid fire questions, some related to the business, some related to the stuff we've talked about on regular shows, on most of our other shows, and some of the subject matter we cover. Real casual, not, right off the top of the head, off the cuff.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah, sounds great.
First off, I want to kick things off with an easy one, which is, in the midst of you testing all of this, what has been your favorite delivery vehicle for the hot sauce? Is it scrambled eggs? Is it chips?
Ooh. Okay. So you just named it. It's scrambled eggs.
All right.
It's a tie between scrambled eggs and pizza.
Nice. Okay.
It's awesome on pizza. But the first time I ever had it was on scrambled eggs. And I'm like, yeah, this is what scrambled eggs are missing. But that's definitely my go-to, and it's very nostalgic for me, just eggs in general, and I think for most people.
Right.
So yeah, definitely.
Nice. Now, in the midst of all this, especially because you're, I want to use not to pigeonhole other entrepreneurs, but you're what I like to call the modern day entrepreneur, just built from the ground up using the current offering of tools out there. So did you do a lot of this work just via your mobile device, or was it a mix of mobile and sitting in front of a Mac or a PC?
I just want to say my phone, my iOS device. Without it, I don't think this would have been able to happen. I always have it on me. I used it to help grow the account on our socials and to communicate with everyone and do everything. I mean, I'm so grateful for modern technology that I'm able to take the internet out of my pocket.
Yep. And
use it whenever I'd like. I'm sure you are as well, and
100%
listening is as well. My phone. I mean, I have a old tablet that I use just for bigger screens to visualize. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, props to the iPhone. Got to give it up.
Now, in terms of the design work, you were saying, you're not a designer by trade, but the avocado logo, the crown with the sauce. What was that design process like for you? Were you just sketching and kind of giving ideas and then turning it over to another artist? How was that process?
Yeah, so this was a really fun aspect of the business for me, because if I was going to have a company, the logo, the branding, it had to kick ass. Just for me personally.
Right.
The logo that you guys see now, with our little avocado friend wearing a crown and holding a key to the club, that was made by an artist that we had partnered with very early on, to make the official logo in exchange for, shout outs, social shares, and just all this awesome stuff. After that kind of set the tone for creating the branding for the hot sauce, for our logo, word mark, and everything. I wanted it to pop. I wanted to use bright, positive colors. And again, I can't say it enough. I'm not a designer. But I use two main platforms that make me look like a designer. And the first is Procreate, which is a paid app. Probably familiar. It's a bit more like advanced for removing backgrounds and erasing and using layers. And in my opinion, it's like a easier, more approachable Photoshop.
Absolutely. I can agree with that.
Yeah. Do you use it as well?
I use it here and there just to kind of, because again, I'm definitely not an artist. So I use it to kind of get rough drafts of what I want, like for our podcast network logos, things like that. I kind of try and throw something together just to give to a real artist, and he can kind of just use that as a better visual representation than just reading, word vomit on a screen. I think it should look like this and it kind of needs to have this. And I'm like, creatives, especially artists, they just want to see it. Like, what do you want? And then they kind of just give you the rough draft and build off of that. Then reading, like I said, just a massive paragraph. Well, it should be like this and the scale should. No, artists don't want to do that.
Exactly. So like, I wanted to learn how to do it, how to make baseline design so that I could communicate it to, say, a head of design that comes on to the team one day, or, I want to be able to speak their language.
Right.
So if it's not Procreate, I'm jumping on Canva. Personally, it is the best value, $0.
Yep.
To design anything you want. It's been my best friend for a really long time. So those are the two that I'm using. But in regards to the look and the feel of, say, just the branding for Hottee Aguacatee, I'm a big gamer, which is why I was extra excited to be on this podcast, because I know like it's part of the category, toys, tech, and games, and all that fun stuff. I mean, it's still such a huge part of my life. When there are little pockets of time, I'm jumping on PlayStation Network and getting my butt kicked by strangers on the internet.
Of course.
Just part of it. But I wanted to use a little like old school gaming theme within the branding. So like the green and the yellow, I wanted it to pop and be designed in a way that was kind of like a retro look and feel to it. I mean, I was born in 1990. I'm a 90s kid, but I still have such an appreciation for like early video game culture.
Yep.
And I know you do as well. Just a guess. And, I wanted to add a little of that to the design and the branding, just for the logo itself, but for the word mark, I wanted to pay homage to like traditional Mexican cuisine and culture.
Right.
Because in my opinion, hot sauce, when I think hot sauce, like good traditional hot sauce, it's Mexico.
Absolutely.
I've never been, it's on the list. But I was going to make a hot sauce as somebody who has never done it before. And I wanted to pay homage to that culture. So the font that we used, was designed by another designer that I had, partnered up with. And I said, this is what we're going for. We want a Mexican culture. This is our brand. It's a hot sauce. And the font, at least in my opinion, seems to like resemble that like old school Aztec style, carving, and like the letters just put together in a really pleasing, traditional way. That's like the best way I can describe it, at least for now. But yeah, everything about the design, I think, just in my eyes, has been very mindful, so that when someone looks at it, they can say, all right, this is a hot sauce. It has the traditional yet modern method to it, and let me give it a shot. But the designing, it's so much fun. Like, especially if you have just a little direction of where you're headed, and
right,
the ideas just come into reality. It's really, really great.
One of the things I'll mention to add to that, when you sent me the initial Kickstarter page and I was looking at it, the box art logo reminded me of this old movie called One Crazy Summer, and the artist was played by John Cusack, and he would draw like his characters. And as soon as I saw like the box art, I'm like, wow, this kind of reminds me of that. So in terms of drawing inspiration from like 80s, 90s, those kind of things, I can 100% say you succeeded. Because as soon as I saw it, I'm like, wow, that reminds me of like One Crazy Summer and the old graffiti you would see in the city with the real big bubble letters and, the lavish colors and everything going on. I'm like, wow, this really is number one. It played on my nostalgia, but it also played on the fact that there's New York, there's that New York vibe in there.
Dude, absolutely. This art box, it's going to be an exclusive reward. There's a 2-bottle pack and a 4-bottle pack. But for that design, for the box, they're going to be extremely limited, and really that reward was meant for our earliest backers. Those Facebook group members that I mentioned earlier, friends and family, partners, and we made it an exclusive perk so that people can kind of, these fans that we've had from the early beginning can kind of claim this part of the campaign as an exclusive. Also, the design is made by Queen of Heart. You can find her on Instagram. She's based out of the Netherlands. She's incredibly, incredibly talented, and she agreed to create the box art for us. The best part, so what you're looking at now hasn't been colored in yet, but it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that final product because it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's gonna be so cool. We're gonna be applying the digital files to the box, and then once everything is put together, we're hoping it's gonna be a really pleasant, just customer experience. But yeah, thanks for calling that out. I mean, I really appreciate that. Really, really excited about it.
When you wake up in the morning, what's the first app you visit?
Twitter.
Wow, very unexpected. I swore it was going to be Instagram. Well played.
Yeah, Twitter is kind of where I get my news right now. From trusted sources that I trust always,
right.
And primarily for sports. I'm a Mets fan, so jumping
God
on
bless
Twitter
you.
can be both. I was waiting for.
No, my wife is a Mets fan, so I share your pains.
It's what a roller coaster.
Yep.
Yeah, it's tough. It's probably even tougher for my parents who have been Mets fans for much longer, who have dealt with this. But at least they saw a couple championships. Yes, Twitter is my go-to. It keeps me informed, and also, there's a lot of thought leaders and advocates. So I'm always following and reaching out to that have helped inspire this project. And the project aside, jumping on Twitter and just seeing what's going on in the world is important to me. But that's definitely the first one. Yeah.
Besides your parents, who definitely were your role models, who was your culinary muse for this journey? Who did you look at and say, hey, I like the way that this person approaches food, and I want to use a similar approach? You want to draw inspiration from them.
Gordon Ramsay. This guy is I was going through a tough time. I mean, I know, we're all going through a tough time now, but me, myself, I was going through a dark time a couple of years ago. And, I had a bed, a television, and access to the seamless delivery app. So I was going to do a lot of damage and kind of reset. But Gordon Ramsay, on MasterChef, which I think was on Hulu. I think it was on Hulu. I watched about 10 straight seasons of MasterChef, and I saw this guy cook and talk about food and, discovered his story, his upbringing, and his, fiery passion, his trademark passion for food and getting it right. I mean, after I watched one episode, I think I tried making a cheese souffle for the first time and almost burned down my apartment.
Holy crap, that's pretty insane.
But yeah, I mean, everything's fine. But this guy, I've never met him in my life. I'd love to one day, and I would love for him to try this hot sauce and criticize the crap out of it and just tear it apart. I think that would be really entertaining, fulfilling for me.
Nice.
But I'd love to follow him, and he's such a successful entrepreneur and business owner. The guy never stops. His energy is contagious. So I would say, aside from my parents, who definitely and will always come first, it'd be that guy.
Nice. What's your favorite piece of tech besides your phone or your computer?
Ooh. So, I mean, I'll say again, my PlayStation. I've had every version since the beginning. I know the new one is coming out soon.
Yep.
Let's see. I mean, aside from my PlayStation, because I did already mention that, favorite piece of tech.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just looking around my room right now. I mean, I love my Apple Watch. It also keeps me healthy and reminds me to breathe, which is awesome, because I didn't realize that a lot of people just forget to breathe throughout the day.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. As an Apple Watch user, it comes in handy. Sometimes it pops up at a real opportune time when you kind of need that pause, that moment of reflection. I mean, as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you had plenty of those moments where you just said, you know what, just breathe, sit back, and look at this with a fresh set of eyes.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's kind of this little companion you forget is there until it vibrates.
Yep.
Hey, just checking on you. Want to see how you're doing. So, yeah, I'd say the Apple Watch. And I've had the first generation one for years, and it still holds up.
Nice. What was the last book you read?
Ooh, okay. Last book I read was Peace is Every Step by Thich Nhat Hanh. Highly recommend. This is one of those life-changing pieces of art in book form, given to me by a friend. It is filled with practical methods and stories that help make us more mindful. So after reading it, you'll look at food differently. You'll look at water boiling differently. You'll look at leaves falling differently. You'll recognize your own anger and frustration in an entirely new and positive way. It's basically like 200 pages of meditation and calmness and focus. And it's kind of like a pleasant slap in the face, if I can be like candid. It's like, look, stop complaining so much. Stop worrying so much. The present is called the present because it's a gift, right? That sort of way of thinking. And, again, yeah, it's called Peace is Every Step. It's a really short but powerful read. It's probably one of the best decisions I ever made. And personally, like, I'm not a reader. Right. I don't open up books. There are very few that I would read, and they're written by people I admire so much. Rich, like, if you were to write a book and release it, I'd be one of your earliest customers. No doubt. But this one kind of like, it'll stop you. It'll slow things down. It will make you happy. It will remind you to breathe. And honestly, I'm super grateful for discovering it.
Nice. Now, as a gamer, what was the last game that you played or are currently playing?
So I'm a big baseball guy, as you know, big Mets fan. So I play MLB The Show 20, primarily, when I'm feeling confident. It starts with confidence, but it ends in devastation. But I'm always ready. Always ready for it. I would say the game that moved me the most, I know this moved me the most. I know this wasn't the question, but I think it's worth shouting out. I recently played The Last of Us Part 2.
Yep.
I can hear in your voice that you played it, or at least heard of it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
it's
a game that definitely touched on a lot of different emotions. You've definitely got emotionally invested in that game, which I think is just a testament to good storytelling, which going back to what you're trying to do with your product, about telling that story.
Absolutely. And since you played it from start to finish, you can see that it was written brilliantly in a way never done before. And yeah, you're right. I mean, in a way, it kind of inspired me to like keep going and stay focused. And I mean, I use video games. I mean, it's a great expression of art and storytelling. And I could honestly say I've been inspired by so many titles over the last 30 years now that I've been playing, and applied it to things that I'm working on. And, I hope to be gaming for the rest of my life. And, yeah.
This question always everybody has a blast with. What's something you've purchased recently that is less than $100 that has made your life easier or more enjoyable?
Okay, less than $100, which is all or most of my purchases. You said life changing?
No, that's made your life easier, just easier overall or more enjoyable.
Ooh, okay. A Spider-Man themed waffle maker.
Nice.
I cannot. So yeah, it sounds ridiculous and silly. First of all, waffles, like scrambled eggs, are so nostalgic. For me, I think for a lot of us, I'm a big Marvel guy. I'm from Queens. Spider-Man is my number one superhero. And I just thought, this is a recent purchase. I want to do something fun and childlike and like nostalgic. And I got this thing. I got the waffle mix, and it actually makes like a web waffle with like his eyes on it. And it felt like I was eating breakfast at like the table 5 or 6 years old again. And it was kind of a really powerful moment for me. So now whenever I'm feeling down and hungry, I will make a Spider-Man waffle. Very happy with that purchase and highly recommend.
Nice. Now, obviously, it wouldn't be a toys and tech of the tray without some toys talk. And you being a '90s kid, favorite toy growing up?
Oh man. Oh, I have 1,000 images running through my mind right now. Favorite toy. So
90s was a
okay.
good time for that stuff, man.
Oh man, it's the best decade of all time. Let's just just make that official. I have two answers. Is that okay?
Yeah, man. Of course.
Awesome. So the first is something that I doubt if anybody remembers this. That would be amazing. They were called scanners. That's SKANNERZ. Scanners. So this little Game Boy shaped device, you would take it to say the supermarket. So if I was going with my mother to the market to go from shopping, I would take this device and this thing had like a scanner on the top of it, just like you would scan a barcode.
Right.
And you could go to any product in that store that had a barcode. You could scan it and it would give you like a monster,
Yep.
an upgrade, a reward. Wait, do you remember scanners?
Yep. And I'll tell you why, because at the time they were kind of doing the whole, I guess the genre, it was like barcode battlers, and you'd essentially go and do different things and it would kind of generate like a character for you, almost like Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't remember the name, but I remembered the
green.
concept because the commercials were always like, you know, the guy screaming in your face, scan your favorite thing and get a monster.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so happy. Okay. Yeah. They came in like blue and green. I just thought it was brilliant and so ahead of its time, to be able to do something like that. And I remember having so much fun. I used to love going food shopping with my mother because I got to scan stuff and upgrade my monsters and my abilities. I don't know where it is now. Maybe I'll discover it in storage one day. My second answer, and you mentioned them already, Pokemon cards were, and honestly still are, a huge deal for me. I'm sure you and I could probably talk about it for a week straight.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of stuff in there. I mean, I worked in a comic book store in the 90s, through high school. So I remember the Pokemon card craze as it started to really pick up. It was on the tail end of the Magic the Gathering phase. So I remember it all too well.
Yeah. I mean, Pokemon also coincidentally was my first entrepreneurial venture. I used to make grab bags, like mystery packs, and sell them in elementary school.
Nice.
Yeah. And I definitely should have charged way more. But now I just think it's really cool to see it like really resurface, in a big way. Just, it's good for like flippers, obviously, who want to do well in the business and make some quick cash. But like I jumped on eBay about a month ago with a friend and like we picked up Blastoise, Charizard, Venusaur, first edition, Shadowless, like, and just to receive that in the mail, to hold it, just brought back just a huge wave of emotions and nostalgia. So, yeah, definitely Pokemon cards. Yeah, man.
Nice.
Very, very, yeah.
Last two questions before we wrap things up. What's your favorite place to eat in Queens?
Ooh, man, come on. Like my answer is Queens, right?
Yep.
because we are the food capital of planet Earth, the most culturally diverse region of Earth, which is a crazy fact. Man, who do I give love to right now? I definitely have an answer for you.
Shoot.
Favorite place to eat in Queens. Okay. There's a place called Casa Enrique in Long Island City. Are you familiar with it?
I used to live in Long Island City and I feel like I've heard the name.
Okay. So it's right by the 7 on Vernon Boulevard.
Okay.
Right before you head down towards Gantry Park on Center. It is, I think, still to date, the only Michelin rated Mexican restaurant in all of New York City. I will say they have incredible guacamole, which I think is a prerequisite if I'm going to eat anywhere.
Yep.
But the thing that stands out the most is their mole. I mean, they're a Mexican restaurant, but it's kind of like, if you've never been to Mexico, I imagine, because I've never, this is the closest thing. The ingredients are amazing. The staff is so super friendly. They have a nice like outdoor space. It's designed really well. The food is a 10 out of 10. And yeah, it's definitely like a very celebratory spot. that I like to go to and bring, new friends and family.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I would definitely say Casa Enrique. Hope they're still doing well. Would love to stop by again.
Nice. And the last one to close things out, I call you up a year from now. I go, Brandon, what's going on with Hottee Aguacatee? What would you like that answer to be?
Wow. 365 days from now.
Yep.
I would like to say, excuse me, I'm getting a little emotional talking about it. I say, well, we launched 2 new flavors and now we have 3. We are in 100 different markets. You know what? Scratch all of that. Scratch all of that. I want to be able to say we have the happiest customers in the world.
That's a hell of a way that's a hell of an answer.
Yeah.
And to wrap things up, we like to call Reach One, Teach One, like to just give a little bit of actionable value to our listeners from our fellow creators and entrepreneurs. Somebody wants to go on this journey, create a product in the food industry. What's one piece of actionable advice you'd want to give them?
Eat as much of that type of food as you possibly can. If you want to make ice cream, you know what to do.
Yep.
If you want to make hot sauce, you know what to do. If you want to make anything, you must be a professional customer and know that industry and the construction and the biology of that particular item. You must know everything about it. And that's a fun thing to do because you get to eat or drink a lot of that product. Get to know it, get to know what you don't like. Notice I didn't say get to know what you like because it's way more valuable to know what's not right or what you don't like. Ask questions, talk to people, like reach out to me, reach out to the channel at Join Avocado Club, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Brandon Fassberg, Instagram. I have a channel just about everywhere. I would love to help guide you in the right direction. I've learned enough to this point to be able to, I think, to nudge anybody who wants to just get into the space. But yeah, I would say just embrace the mistake. And if you love food and you really love it, you won't stop.
I think that's a perfect piece of advice and a great way to close things out. Brandon, I really, really appreciate you taking the time to share the toys and tech of your trade. And I can happily say that when the Kickstarter goes live September 1st, you definitely have a backer here.
Rich, thank you so much. Of course, that is endlessly appreciated. In fact, I'd love to send you a bottle just to thank you for having me on because I had so much fun just talking to you.
Absolutely.
So I would love to send that your way as soon as possible. Also, something I definitely don't want to forget, if it's okay. And this is featured in our campaign page as well.
Okay.
Really excited about this. Once Hottee Aguacatee is in business, so that means all of the Kickstarter rewards have been fulfilled and we could start regularly selling on our website. We're going to be donating a percentage of profits to organizations like Roar, who are actively helping to support restaurant workers in New York City who have been directly affected by COVID-19.
Awesome.
As you know, a lot of restaurants have had to close, unfortunately. People have lost jobs who rely on these hourly wages. And I think it's such an anchor right now for what we're doing here. We're building it. It's made in Queens and it's made for Queens at the same time and the rest of New York City. We want to be able to give back. So any future purchase, we're definitely going to be donating to help everyone out and get New York City back to where it should be.
Awesome. That is tremendous. And I commend you on that initiative. And just to recap for the listeners, the Kickstarter is going live on September 1st. People can find Hottee Aguacatee and these links for all your social in the show notes for this episode. They can connect with you on LinkedIn. I'll make sure to connect with you there and link out to that as well. Is there anything else you wanted to add? Any other calls to action that you'd like our audience to do for you?
Actually, yes. Wash your hands as much as you can. Wear a mask, please, when it's appropriate to. Stay connected to friends and family. Be safe and just stay positive.
Awesome. Once again, Brandon, thank you so much for taking the time to share the toys and tech of your trade.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Brandon and really got a lot of insight into what it takes to bring a product like a hot sauce to market. I'm very, very excited not only to back this project, but also to showcase another New Yorker, another fellow creator here in the Big Apple. With everything going on, every little bit of conversation, promotion, and just signal boosting really, really helps out. Everything we discussed in this episode will be in the show notes, as well as links to the Kickstarter campaign and how you can connect with Brandon as well. Last but not least, call to action as always. If you want to be a guest on a future episode of Toys and Tech of the Trade, drop me a line, rich@rageworks.net. You can also fill out our contact form for Toys and Tech of the Trade and some of our other podcasts as well. Last but not least, if you enjoyed this podcast and any of the others that we've done, please take a moment and give us a rating on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, whichever service you're using. If it has a review system, take a moment, give us a rating. If we delivered value and exceeded your expectations, a 5-star rating is always appreciated. And if you got a minute or two, definitely want to write a blurb and let us know what you think about the show. Not only does it help us in terms of social proof, but it's a great way to show just additional engagement. I know so many of you are downloading the episodes. The numbers definitely reinforce that, but still, I definitely want to hear from you. You want to, like I say, be a guest, have some business questions, podcasting questions, just need somebody who's a friendly ear, by all means, do not hesitate to reach out. And we got so many more awesome guests on deck for the month of September and October. I'm just really pumped on what's going on with Toys and Tech of the Trade, and I look forward to sharing many, many more stories with you. Well, on behalf of myself, Brandon, and the rest of the folks at the Rageworks Podcast Network, thank you all for your continued support. If you're a hot sauce aficionado, I'm sure Brandon will be excited if you can back his Kickstarter. As I said, links in the show notes for this episode. And that's it. As always, new episodes are available every 2 weeks on Wednesdays on your podcast platform of choice. And that's it. Time to wrap up this bonus episode of Toys and Tech of the Trade. Thank you guys for listening. I'm out of here. Peace. Toys and Tech of the Trade is part of the RageWorks podcast network, your source for rants about gaming, entertainment, and the works. Visit us at RageWorksNetwork.com.